Warning: this video may contain spoilers for movies you may or may not have watched. Proceed with caution. Illumination was founded in 2007 by film producer Chris Meledandri after leaving his president position at 20th Century Fox Animation and Blue Sky Studios. So far, the studio has made 13 animated features, from Despicable Me to the recently released Mario movie. Now that the Mario movie is out and currently taking the top place in most popular movies, I figured it'd be a perfect opportunity to rank all 13 of Illumination's animated features from worst to best. Please note that I'm a relatively easygoing movie person who doesn't think any of Illumination's movies are absolutely horrible, even though the studio has been known for the generally unfavorable writing. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and with that said, let's get started. Number 13. Hop. This was Illumination's only film mixing animation with live action. I haven't seen Alvin and the Chipmunks, but it's apparently similar to this, except it's a bunny who winds up getting Fred as the first human Easter bunny ever. It's not a terrible movie, but weak in its own composition, and I felt that Carlos was a really uninspired villain, and the idea of where the jelly beans come from is totally absurd. An appropriate movie for this time of year, yet not one you might want to pick. Number 12. The Secret Life of Pets 2. Severely underwhelming compared to its predecessor. It's one of those overstuffed movies with several plot lines constantly jumping from one to another, which causes a rather unpleasant feeling of suspense until they finally come together. But it still has its moments, such as the interactions between Max and Liam, and I found it a novelty for Harrison Ford to star in his first animated movie ever. I just wish he did on a more enjoyable movie. Not even his own character Rooster was able to raise the stakes. It's almost contrived. Number 11. The Lorax. Half of this movie consists of a flashback narrative by the Onceler, which is kind of an odd way to tell a story in my opinion, but I dare to say it works nonetheless, since the original Dr. Seuss book has seemingly provided thin material to work with. It's relatively compelling for an environmental message, and I think the Lorax himself is a really likable character, though I find it really strange that he did not appear during the climax of the movie. It can feel slow, but it picks up by the end. Number 10. Despicable Me 3. Yeah, more of what you'd expect. But if it didn't consist of jumping from one subplot to another in hopes of reaching a required runtime to justify another sequel, we'd have a wonderful project on our hands. If you thought Gru had a shrill voice, Drew's voice is even shriller, both voiced by Steve Carell. Not a bad character to include to Gru's family per se, but I kinda feel like they could have done more with him. Drew's antics while infiltrating Brad's lair were hilarious. I could watch the two brothers commit heists all day. Number 9. The Secret Life of Pets. When you mix Toy Story and Zootopia, you get a concept that delivers more than was promised. There's a lot more entertainment value and silly action scenes with vehicles crashing that wasn't present in the sequel. The humor is really over the top and there's a bit too many characters, but the highlight of the pack is Snowball with a lot of depth and energetic voice acting by Kevin Hart. Number 8. Minions. To make a spin-off like this work, we are focused on only 3 minions of the entire tribe, consisting of supposedly 899. Kevin, Stuart, and Bob embark on a journey to find their new master. It's a movie that is best enjoyed if you turn off your brain and ignore the clumsiness of not only the plot and its circumstances, all things considered, but also the fact that it might be a bit too much minions. Kids might have been absolutely exhilarated while watching this in theaters in 2015, and understandably so. It's really cute. Number 7. Sing. I expected a jukebox and I got a jukebox in movie form. It follows the story of a koala who purchased a theater after his father spent 30 years washing cars to afford it. To ensure he can retain the property, he hosts a singing competition and the audition winners become part of the main cast. All of them are lovable characters, with the exception of Mike.
Look at me, I'm turning red.
Most memorably, he indirectly causes the Moon Theater to come crashing down, and it's quite an upsetting scene for an Illumination film. At the end, we get a climactic singing show that sets everything right and leaves you with a good feeling. It's a fantastic movie jam-packed with songs making for a great soundtrack. Number 6. Despicable Me. The original movie of the franchise that kickstarted Illumination is rich in comedy and hilarious gags, but when Gru takes on the responsibility of taking care of the 3 orphan girls, this can come across as rather mean-spirited. The animation department could use some development, especially when it comes to the minions designs. Some of them look more creepy than cute, but that's expected for the first movie of an animation studio. Vector as a villain is basically a meme at this point. Number 5. The Grinch. A very visually appealing film to enlighten the holiday spirit. I have not seen any other adaptations of the Dr. Seuss books, so I have nothing to compare it to, but this animated take is basically what you'd expect. The Grinch is the protagonist and antagonist of his own movie at the same time. He ultimately comes to realize that it wasn't Christmas that he hated, but rather he hated being rejected. Very simple and heartwarming. Even when the Grinch is still in his grumpy mood, it's hard to dislike him as a character. And I find it particularly interesting that he was voiced by a British actor doing an American accent. Lovely soundtrack too. Number 4. Despicable Me 2. A lot more lively, cute, and exciting than its predecessor. Lucy is such a charming character, having perfect chemistry with the man who once stole the moon, about to become a full family. The minions behind the slaughter are also dangerously funny and will always put a smile on your face. Honestly, I don't even know what to say about the villain. Number 3. Minions: The Rise of Gru. This movie exceeded my expectations. It takes place around 40 years before Despicable Me, following Gru wanting to become a supervillain, teaming up with Wild Knuckles after he was betrayed by the Vicious Six. Kevin, Stuart, and Bob learn Kung Fu, and massive laughs ensue. Now joined by the minion Otto, they unite to take down 5 bad guys, which makes for a really exhilarating showdown. Overall, this is way better than the original Minions movie, and arguably the best and funniest of the franchise as a whole. It's incredibly fast paced. In the blink of an eye, the 87 minutes have already transpired. There is never a moment where it feels boring. Number 2. Sing 2. This sequel puts the original movie to shame and follows it perfectly. The stakes are placed much higher for Buster Moon to get his theater to bigger leagues. So now it's not just singing, but now we also have an entire spectacle of an act with a mini story attached to it. The plot beats around the bush at times, but makes up for it by building you up for the absolutely amazing final show containing a sequence of songs that strongly strike you to dance along, accompanied with the best visual work yet. Illumination certainly outdid themselves in these aspects, single-handedly making this one of the best in their entire catalog. If Meledandri ever finishes producing a Sing 3, I'm all for it. One of their best. Yeah, you know what's coming. Number 1. The Super Mario Bros. Movie. Honestly unsurprising that this takes a top place. It's got Easter eggs galore, excellent character portrayal, colorful visuals, a perfect soundtrack despite a few licensed songs, and superior writing than the standards of Illumination, even if the plot plays it safe just like the video games did. All of this amounts to a masterpiece of an animated movie that will make the biggest Mario fans explode in joy. In terms of how the characters are portrayed, everyone did a fantastic job and I really liked Mario and Luigi's dynamics. But my biggest surprise was Bowser coming across as an extremely toxic simp for Peach. My mom was echoing Peaches on the way back home from the movie theater because of how funny it was. The action scenes are also absolutely satisfying to see, including the Mario Kart Rainbow Road segment and the final battle against Bowser. If you get the chance to see this movie in theaters, don't miss it. It's absolutely worth it. Alright, that's it for today's video. Did you hate not only the Mario movie but also me for putting it in the number 1 spot? Or did you love it as much as I did and want to see a sequel as soon as possible? Are you interested in Illumination's upcoming Migration movie? Let me know in the comments. This year I plan to make more ranking videos on catalogs of other animation studios, so subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss out on them. If you haven't seen the ranking video I did on Disney, I highly recommend you check it out. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.